Last week, I enjoyed 6 Islay Scotch whiskeys. The link's in the description below if you want to look at that. This week, I decided, let's go the other direction. As far away from smoky peat as you can get. I went for a Highland Scotch that is just pretty. Let's do this. Welcome to Whisky Riffs. I'm Kevin, and this week, instead of the peaty Islay smoky whiskeys that I had last time, I have a lovely whiskey from Glenmorangie, the Nectar D'Or. Nectar D'Or is a Highland Scotch whiskey. It is 46% ABV, and it's definitely not the peaty smoky beast. This Highland single malt Scotch is aged in American ex-bourbon casks, as well as French white wine Sauterne casks. 5 years of high school French, just like I was coming out of Paris. Just beautiful. It never leaves you. I'm so impressed with how languages just stick. It's 46% ABV, so it's not very harsh. Certainly not anything spiky or nasty in it. This is more of a dessert wine finish. Let's go ahead, pour a glass, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. The Glenmorangie Distillery has been around since 1843, when William Matheson and his wife, who were farmers, decided to start distilling whiskey. And the distillery actually has been in the same spot ever since then. Now, Glenmorangie is one of my favorite distillers because they make the Quinta Reuben, which I have a recent episode of, and I'll link that below also in the description. And they make the Signet, which is a more expensive whiskey that I may have a chance to pull out a little later in this episode. Now, personally, I'm not a huge fan of dessert wines, but I'm willing to take a chance on this one because I do like Highland Scotch and I do like Glenmorangie, and I trust them to do the right thing with these caskings. Now, as a dessert wine, you're going to get a little color on this, but since it's basically a white wine, it's just not that dark. You're not getting the same thing as the port cask finish or a sherry finish. The grapes used for this dessert wine, Semillon grapes, they're really like rotten grapes that change the whole flavor profile of the wine and give it that denser, thicker, desserty flavor profile. Locally, this whiskey is about $73. Online, I've seen it around $82. Check around, you see how available it is. Glenmorangie has a good distribution network, so you should be able to find it somewhere. Let's take a peek into the nose of this. Oh yeah, very desserty. Definitely getting the sweeter notes. There's a bit of orange zest in there too. The malt is very light. There's just not enough oak on the nose to make it offensive at all to anybody. Along with the orange zest, I'm getting a little bit of lime notes. And the sweetness borderlines on like a vanilla flavor. A little bit coconut there for me too. It's called a sweet and sumptuous whiskey. Let's see how sumptuous this bad boy is. Yeah, at 46% ABV, there is still a little heat there. Ooh, I got a little minty note, or maybe not mint. That's ginger. Yeah, the spice there is ginger. Definitely tasted more fruity. It definitely smelled more fruity on the nose. The day my nose starts tasting things, the day we better quit doing this. I'm falling down into a vat of whiskey then. Getting more malted notes on the taste, and that ginger spice is pretty strong. It might be a little bit of the oak spice hitting now. I didn't get that on the nose. The finish is a little bit like a very tanniny wine. You can taste that linger. And the ginger's still there too. I think I'm getting the berries underneath the nose, kind of like like berries and vanilla ice cream together. That's kind of where the sweetness is for me. Really is a lot of spice for me, a lot of ginger spice. I'm kind of surprised by that. I was expecting this to be a little more, I guess, just a pleasant, quiet dessert taste. So there is some action going on. There's some spice in here. Very impressive. I mean, I don't know if that's what you're going for, but if you like the sweeter notes with some ginger and a little bit of bite to it, I think this is a really nice combination. I think with every taste, it gets just a little nicer. I think after the expectation goes away that I'm going to be having a dessert wine, then I get down to the actual whiskey flavors, which are some typical Highland flavors, maybe some honey and vanilla and sweet notes, but the ginger is strong and a little bit of berries down in there. One second, I'm gonna pull out something. Hang right there. All right, this is not a fair comparison because this whiskey is probably in the $250 range as far as price. It's the Glenmorangie Signet. And I keep it tucked away in the corner over here so I don't go grabbing it every single day. It's a beautiful presentation of a whiskey, and I'm just using this episode as an excuse to break into it and say, well, I'm doing this for the people. But it's a beautiful bottle, and you can see that it's got a lot of darkness to it, and a lot of that has to do with the age. The Signet is also 46% ABV, but it is such a blend of older and younger whiskeys. There's no age statement on it, but I think they, if I remember right, they said there's 26, 27-year-old whiskeys in this. Wow. So when I taste the Signet, there's none of the ginger strength that hits first. It's the age, it's the fruit flavors, it's the kind of the darker fruits. I start to get into the plums and raisins for this whiskey, where this one is raspberries, blueberries, vanilla, and definitely tastes much younger than the Signet, as it should. I mean, they're totally different whiskeys, they're totally different price points. Deep notes on the Signet, it just oozes time. It just makes you feel like you're experiencing a lot of lovely blendings of different aged whiskeys. And because of that age, and this is what sometimes people don't get about whiskey, age doesn't make a whiskey better necessarily, but what it does is it tones down some of those sharp notes, some of the young notes that you might get in this that are barking at you, the ginger and the oak that on the taste hit you a little bit. You're not going to get that with this more dense whiskey. And you can just see the tears on this thing. Oh my God, they're just so long. Very different behaviors, even in the glass. So who is the Nectar D'Or for? Nectar D'Or is someone that's looking for a Highland Scotch that has a little more pizzazz to it, has a little more sweetness to it, has some ginger edge to it. If you like the ginger flavors, I think this is a good experience for you. If you get a chance to try the Signet, I would definitely do that. And if you feel extravagant, go ahead and grab a bottle of it. I don't think you can be disappointed by this kind of treatment of whiskey. I think Glenmorangie does a great job of putting the effort into their expressions that make you feel like I paid for something and I'm getting what it's worth. Getting what it's worth? I'm getting what I paid for. Whatever. Let me know in the comments below if you've had any of the Glenmorangie expressions, especially if you've had either the Nectar D'Or or the Signet. I'd love to hear your comments. I'd love to hear your notes about those. And until we meet in the next video, take care of yourself, take care of the people around you, and until next time, cheers.